Hello, everyone. It's Sam Smith with JP and Associates Realtors. It's Thursday, and it's Small Business Thursday. Doing an interview with another local business owner. Today, I've got Kay Briggs. She's the owner of the Pink Poppy Artisans Boutique, right? That's the
Yes.
full name. Okay, so she's our guest today, and I wanted to bring her on because she's one of several people in our community who has a brick and mortar shop and has kind of had to close and find a new way of doing business, kind of at the drop of a hat. So I wanted to bring her on so she could tell us how she's been, about her business, first of all, and then how she's been changing things up and how that's been working. So the Pink Poppy is located at the Summit at the Rivery, which is right next to the Sheraton Hotel. It's the shopping area right in front of Sheraton. It's 1500 Rivery Boulevard. Hers is Suite 2165. She's right next to Whoops Bakery. If you've not been there, you need to go, first of all. She's got a couple of restaurants nearby. She's got BB's Home Cooking and 2020 Market Scratch Kitchen. I've been to Orange Theory just only a couple of times, and that was all I could handle. But that is right there if you're familiar with that. And there's also Spa Looks, which is a new spa that opened, I guess, about a year ago, probably. Um,
Yes.
right over there next to her, or across the parking lot from her. Anyhow, what I wanted to ask you to get us started, Kay, is tell me about the Pink Poppy. What a lot of people are familiar with your business, but a lot of people don't know. So what kind of a place is your
What
business?
kind of place is it? Do you want to know how I got started, or what kind of a place it is now, or
Well,
what do
you
you?
know what? Because I would love to know how you got started because
Well,
we did meet at a previous incarnation of where you were doing some retail business, but
that's right.
but
Incarnation. I like that.
yeah.
Well,
So what's your history?
my background is actually is in education and
Wow.
fitness. I was an athletics director, and I taught art and health education
Oh,
in Houston. And I I'm not, I've always had this absolute love for, I didn't realize it at the time, which was retail, but a lot of it is because, I like pretty things. I love artistic things, and I like people. So didn't really, didn't really know as I was going through life, that I'd end up where I was. Now,
mhm.
later in life, as I was an athletics director, I actually started dabbling into the retail area. And
Okay.
there was, when I was in Houston, I know that a lot of you know about Spring, Old Town Spring. So I started a little, like a little co-op out in Old Town Spring. And it just kind of went from there and developed. And I did that for many years in conjunction with me being a coach and a health educator, a teacher. And then, eventually moved here. And that was in my earlier days. And I swore, I said, I'm never going to do that again. Um, you know where that goes. So I
Yeah.
was, oh, I'm not going to do that again. And but it ended up that a lot of what we do in our lives, it really forms. There's a lot we can learn from everything that we go through in our life. Me being an athletics director taught me a whole lot about myself. It taught me a lot about other people. It taught me a
Mhm.
lot about a lot of things, that I can apply that into the retail world. So, as I moved here, things developed. I started on the square back. I want to say it was probably 2008 or 2000. I think it was 2008.
Okay.
And then I had a little, like a co-op there,
Mhm.
which is now known as Mesquite Creek Outfitters. That's
I
where
did
they
not
are.
realize that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it used to be this big space, and we turned it in kind of to a artisans co-op. There's about
Mhm.
15 of us there.
Mhm.
And then after that got shut down, because the guy wanted to sell the building and
Mhm.
various other things. Well, I moved over to 7th Street and went into a space over there, and that's where we had Diva Chicks.
Mhm.
I sold that business back to my business partner at the time, and then when I did that, I moved over off of 8th Street and started Pink Poppy Artisans Boutique. That's where that started.
Uh-huh.
I moved to that business back in um, this last January, the end of the month. So I was in that space for about 7 years,
Mhm.
and then I moved over to the Rivery on actually the very first day of business was January the 30th of this year over at the summit. So
Wow.
that's kind of how I ended up over there. Um, we started off, we have a really great following. We have a lot of really wonderful and loyal customers that if it wasn't for Georgetown and that being our loyal customer base, I would not have moved, because really a lot of my business is relationship driven, not
Hmm.
just sell stuff.
Hmm.
It's about,
Yeah.
because sometimes people think that that's just all retail really is, but genuinely,
Yeah.
I really, really, really love using retail as the medium that I get to connect with other women
Hmm.
and their lives and who they are and what they do. And, I just got a lot of great relationships from being in retail.
Hmm.
And so we moved over there, started up business, and we went off bang busters. And
And then,
I was like, woohoo,
yeah, that's
and
fantastic.
so I was a little light on inventory when we got there, so we put off our grand opening till, well, I don't even remember the date, but it was a Wednesday in March. So we had our grand opening, and I could not believe the people that showed up. It was the most amazing thing. I was
Wow.
so extremely touched. I can't. It was probably. I think about it now. It was like this big party, and everybody just came out, and it just was lovely. It touched my heart so much, and I was so excited. And then we went into Friday, and then this virus thing hit, and the next thing you know, they go boom, shut down. I was like, what? So I was like,
Yeah.
cannot be. And so
So
that
the favorite word right now for the past several weeks that is just over and over again is the word pivot.
yes.
You really seriously had to pivot because you
Yeah.
were like wind
Yep.
blow, like hair blowing back to no one can come over. And so what
Yeah,
did you do? How'd you get through that?
you know, um, you pivot in your life
Mm.
a lot of different ways. We just don't realize it. But I think that when you just think about, like, this is really your desire to do this, it doesn't always have to be done exactly the way that it's being
Mhm.
done here. You can pivot and do it another way. So the goal is to connect to customers. The goal is to get them what they desire, what they need, or what they want. And
Mhm.
in order to do that, if they cannot come in your store, then you need to figure out another way.
Yeah.
So, one morning I woke up and I said, okay, what is my most prized possession in my store? What does everybody love? Well, they love Consuela. So I said, okay, I'm going to do a Consuela sale. And so I did a live um, Facebook, and then I did a Consuela sale from my Facebook. I gave a discount that we never give,
Mhm.
and just sold every Consuela I had in the store.
Wow.
And then I ordered more because Consuela said I could. So I started off with an incredible week, the very first week that we had that terrible shutdown, which could have been devastating,
Mhm.
but it wasn't. And so as I did the lives, I realized that Facebook lives are actually working.
Mhm.
And I continue to do them. Some days I would do them every day, and some days it might be every other day. But
Mhm.
I learned that if I had a live every day, spoke to everybody every day, if it is just, hey, what's going on? How's everybody doing? You
Mhm.
know, we got it worked.
Yeah.
It was my way of, that was my pivot, which I never thought I would have to do, which, because I'm not a fan of Facebook lives. Like, here we are doing another one, but I will
I
tell
know.
you that I kid you not, I had a business coach, and I remember she, part of what we were doing is, 2 years ago she was putting us through this, and she was making us do Facebook lives and various other things, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. And I would do them, and I would do them just like, my throat, I would have like, you could choke me, because I was so
I know.
scared. I was so scared. And so I just kept doing them because that was part of the deal. I did them.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And like, as time went on, they got a little easier.
Yeah.
And so, needless to say,
Yeah.
that education that I learned from her
Mhm.
put me in a space where I wasn't so afraid
Yeah.
that I wouldn't do them. And I did them and they paid off. And I will tell you this, that every single Facebook Live I ever did always produced an income. It always produced a sale
Very
or
good.
two,
Mhm.
but they almost always produce multiple sales. So usually the very worst one I ever had was 2 sales, and they were big sales, but it was just 2 sales.
Yeah.
So there were 2 very significant sales. But
Mhm.
then what I noticed is days later, someone called, "Hey, I saw your Facebook Live. I would like that. Do you still have it?" And so it just kept going. So what I realized is the connection with people, though I
Mhm.
couldn't hug their neck and see their face, I could
Right.
still make a connection, and that's where those came in very
Yeah.
handy. So that was my pivot,
Yeah.
and it was a
No,
big
that's
one.
great. Well, and all of us, we can always be our own worst critic, and we can always like pick, we could just get stage fright and like be so worried about and let these things become impediments to us and
Yeah,
to
yeah,
our, to the unknown. We don't know if it's going to be successful or not successful. And I'm so glad that you had a business coach who was forcing you to try that, even though it probably didn't even make sense at the time. But
yeah,
it's one of those things. I mean, if you have, and I think I love it that you said that it's a relationship business because so many of the things that we do are about relationships, and I think we started to realize over the past 6 weeks how much importance there really is to have the relationships and how many different ways there are to have them. And
yeah.
like you said, I love it that somebody had didn't see you go Facebook Live, but they saw it. That little video had legs. It just kept running, and someone else caught it. And you know that I think that's fantastic because I personally haven't had a chance to talk to you in the past couple of months, and I just thought this is I wondered, number one, if you were going to be able to be in the store or if you were going to be busy. And then when I talked to you earlier, you said you had to run to your home office because you were so busy at the store. And
Yeah.
that's fantastic. I mean, when was the first day that you reopened to
Well,
actual customers?
when this first came down and they said you cannot operate business, there was a lot of emotions that happened. First of all was absolute fear, which I'm not a fearful
Yeah.
person, but I realized that I got really upset because they said I had to. And then I
Mhm.
had this
Mhm.
I had a little bit of an anger thing going on where I said, you can't tell me what to do, kind of thing. Okay, I'm a grown woman,
Gotcha.
and I said, you can't tell me what to do.
You can't
But
tell me.
so, yeah, I know, isn't that funny? But and a lot of people who know me would laugh at that because they say, yeah, that's her. But
Yeah.
but what I did say is that, okay, look, I am not a rule breaker.
Mhm.
I'm not. I obey the law. So I just wanted to see what are the criteria that they're asking from us. And
Mhm.
I did what I could do within all of that
Mhm.
so that I didn't break the law or I didn't cause someone to have harm to themselves, have them come out when they shouldn't be. So I did that. And, but then I continued that the whole time, the entire time. I took 4 days off during all that time. And I just made sure that I was diligent and I kept going. I wasn't always there, 7, 8 hours a day, but I was always there for at least 4.
Mhm.
And I just did that and I kept going.
Mhm.
So when they allowed us to open, they said we could do retail to go.
Mhm.
And I told my husband, I said, retail to go? That's all I get?
How do you do
I
that?
was like, you
Yeah,
gotta be
because
kidding me.
the experience is to go. I mean, part of it is to go in the store, see things, touch them, and everything like
Yeah.
that. But
Well, I just said, I've been doing retail to go for weeks. I'm
yeah,
really looking for a little more. Okay. But anyway, so I knew it was coming.
yeah.
And so I just kept doing what I was doing. And then when they said you could open, I opened.
Mhm.
I leave my door open so that people don't have to touch the door handle because I know they're a little bit weary about that. So
Yeah.
I do leave that open. But I also have a son who's a paramedic,
Okay.
and he gave me some really good cleaner
Mhm.
that remains on the surfaces for 24 hours. And so I, every morning, I clean everything with that.
Mhm.
And then in between, I have a sanitizer that every time somebody touches, like they touch the cash register or they
Mhm.
use, or the restrooms or the dressing rooms or things like that. So we do all the cleaning after that. And we also make sure that we keep our hands clean, like wash our hands, sanitize, and then of course, because I'm sanitizing so much, my hands are turning into Krispies. So I do a heavy duty cream that I put on my hand to keep my hands from getting cuts and abrasions and things like that. So we were busy. Literally on Friday, the people that came out on Friday, they were intentionals. So they were people that followed my Facebook, people that are customers of mine. They came out, intentionally purchased on Friday and intentionally purchased on Saturday. It was very noticeable. And it was noticeable to me that they were people that I knew. So that meant those are my customers that are coming to support me. And I loved it. And I appreciate every one of them that did that. And then on Monday, I didn't know what to expect. I thought, okay, well, it's going to go rank. And it did not. It just kept going.
Okay.
And so we've been busy Monday. We were busy Tuesday. Actually, we've been busy every day. And today I had a slow start. And I thought, okay, well, we're going to be slow today. And then they hit me right before I left. So I did a bunch of, I made some sales and I said, bye, I gotta go. Running out the door. I gotta go. But anyway, so I am, Georgetown is a very loyal, thoughtful community.
Yeah.
And one thing that I think is important, even though they're loyal and thoughtful, you have to remember that if you do not stay relevant and, find ways to connect to people, because it is a relationship-based business, they will forget you.
Yeah.
And so the doing the Facebook Lives, calling people and checking in on them during this time, how you doing? I have a really good friend that she's in her 80s and she's one of my good customers. I just called her. I called multiples and just said, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Do you need anything? And nobody really needed anything. There's a couple of ladies, I connected them to somebody that could take them what they needed. But then the rest of it was, I really did work. I took that time and I got things together and I did the stuff I needed to do, but I also made sure every day I connected with everybody. So that's where the lives came in. I will have to remember, I'm going to have to make an effort to keep doing those. I love those. And so I didn't do one today because I was really, really busy. Todd White, the photographer, Todd
Sure.
White, he came over and did a video. So I had that, and then I had pictures I had to take, and then, then it got busy. So, sometimes I can't do them every day, but I do love them more than I would tell you that if I would 2 years ago, if you'd have said you love doing Facebook Lives and talking to a camera, I would have said, you're nuts. But
I can imagine that.
It caused me so much fear. I mean, I said, I can go out and talk to a bunch of people and I'm fine, but put the camera in front of me and I would just panic.
Yeah.
So I worked that fear, and because it's an unknown. There's a lot about our lives now that are unknown. So, just do it. Just do it.
Just do it. No, isn't it special how the hard things in life actually cause us to get out of our comfort zone, go in a place that we wouldn't have dreamed of before or wouldn't have desired to do before. And then once we find ourselves in the middle of it and we find that things are fruitful, then, we just change through life. It doesn't matter how old or young you are, how experienced or not experienced. You got to always start somewhere, and then you end up, in a different place.
We're usually afraid of what we don't know. And so why are we so afraid of what we don't know? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? And of course, if you let your brain go there, you're going to think of some terrible things. But, I just simply said, okay, I can just acknowledge that I am not comfortable with this, but I have been out of my comfort zone for a very long time lately. So I really am, I just really trust God that He's going to provide and He's going to take care of things. And, not everybody is a believer, and that's not what this is about. But my faith is what pushed me past being comfortable and gave me hope to believe that there was going to be that there was going to be something come from what I do. Like, the Facebook Lives, because I was so afraid, I figured there's got to be something on the other side of that that
Mhm.
causes me to produce, to take care of myself, because I am so afraid of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is I had to ask myself, why am I so afraid?
Mhm.
And I mean, the thing's not going to bite me.
Right.
And,
No, that's true.
why am I so afraid? And it just got back to, a lot of people think that people that are business owners, we don't have fear. We don't have this. We don't have,
Yeah.
my fear was just that somebody was going to judge me. Or they
Mhm.
were going to say, "Oh my God, she said the wrong word." Or, "Do
Mhm.
you see her hair? How terrible that!" I mean, that's one of the things that
Yeah.
crazy how women think about those kind of things.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
over the years, as I've just learned to embrace my person as it is,
Mhm.
that we are all just very different.
Yep.
And we all have things that other people appreciate.
Yep.
So just did it, scared and
That's
all.
yeah, scared and all, I know. Oh,
Scared and all did it.
I felt the same way because I just had to, I wanted to do something to help people in our community. Business owners, like, I started on Thursdays with business owners, but also Wednesdays I do a series just with different people in the community who can help other people. Even
Mhm.
yesterday, I had a lady who actually is a life coach and consultant for businesses, for small businesses. And she gave us all kinds of free information, like very helpful, I think, for the community. Anyhow, enough about that. But what I was trying to get at is that it is frightening,
Yeah.
to put yourself out there like that. And you just have to say, I don't even care. And that's one thing that, especially as women, we tend to look in the mirror and pick ourselves apart. But you know what? Every time, I'm like you, every time I see someone new and I interact with them, I appreciate that they are human and that they are real right in front of me, and they have flaws and they have perfections. And I think that's such a, and in a retail environment, you get to be you, Kay, get to be sort of, a leader in that way. You get to help people feel like they can be comfortable. You've got all that beautiful clothing in your store, you have your accessories and all these kinds of things for women that cause them to feel beautiful. And that's a special, it's
Yeah.
not only the relationship, but it is that aspect of the relationship that I think is a good thing
Well,
too.
women just, that's what we do. When we go somewhere, what are we going? Like, I wonder what I'm going to wear. Um,
Mhm.
Regardless of what we think about ourselves, whether it's good, bad, it doesn't really matter. We do really connect through how we feel and what we wear. And
Mhm.
so I love the way really beautiful clothes, nice clothes, not expensive necessarily, but nice quality clothes feel on your skin and how it makes you feel. So that when I came here um, to Georgetown, one of the things I noticed at the time was that there were no places to shop. And, I came from Houston. And so you could go shopping at
Yeah.
1,000 places. And I was like, there's no place to shop here. I got to go all the way to Austin to shop.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I was like, man, that's not cool. And that's kind of how that started, because I really said, okay, we need something here.
Yeah.
And I started in a 10 by 10 space, then it went to 10 by 15, then it went to 10 by 20, and then it went to 1,100 feet, then it went to 2,400 feet,
Wow.
and then it went to 1,200 feet. And
It's
so I know a lot of people like, why would she move? Why would
Mhm.
you go smaller? And really what happened is it might have been as much as 2 years ago, year and a half ago, I was realizing that I was not liking my life. I was not liking my business and what was going on. And I said, okay, this is what I've always wanted to do. So why is it that I am not liking this? Why do I not like this? What can I do about this? And I realized that, I got to a point where I said, okay, I'm done. I'm finished.
Yeah.
I am done with this business.
Mhm.
And then I was like, okay, hang on a minute, just back up a little. And so, I pulled it apart and I said, why do I not like it? What is causing me not to love what I do anymore?
Mhm.
And what can I do about it? And so, literally everything, but just a few things I could take action. I could do something about. And what I realized is, we always think in America that bigger is always better.
Mhm.
And what I found is that big space, though it's a big space, and to most people think, oh, she's successful, everything's wonderful because she's got this huge space, did not realize how much stress was associated with the size of a space that way. I mean, it was just big.
Interesting. Yeah.
And so I said, you know what? I want to get back to where I want to get back to doing what I love. I cannot do it in a space this size. It's too big. So that's really why I moved.
That's
I moved
interesting.
to get smaller so that I could get more focused, so I could have more relationships with my customers, so I could do, I mean, I literally, a lot of the things I wanted to do was it was not possible to do
Mhm.
because we had longer hours,
Mhm.
and I couldn't be there all that time, and
Yeah.
the girls couldn't be there all that time, and there couldn't just be one of us. They had to be 2 and 3 of us
Yeah.
there all the
Mhm.
time, just because we
Mhm.
had so much space to cover.
Mhm.
And so this way, when you walk in now, it's a beautiful space. They did a really great job. It feels good. I mean, literally, I walked in the first day by myself, and I walked in and I went, "Oh my gosh, it feels like home. It feels
Oh,
like
wow,
this
that's
is
great.
where I'm supposed to be." I just had this really wonderful, like, whew, and it just fell out, and it
Yeah.
wasn't intentional. I was like, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty space. I love it. I love that it's quaint. It is smaller. It's like half the size,
Mhm.
but it is possible to do as much in volume out of that size of a space as I did downtown.
Yeah.
So
So tell me, I'm so glad that it felt like home. That was, and the interesting thing is it's a brand new space, right? I
yeah,
mean,
it's
it's
brand
no
new.
one's been in there before you.
Nope.
You got to, but that just means it was meant to happen.
Yeah.
And so what are you still carrying most of the same things that you had before, or and
Yep.
just on a scaled down version? And
Well,
uh,
what I did was is um I kept the lines that were all real customer favorites, like,
mhm,
Jag jeans, Lizzie, um, flax.
mhm,
Oh my gosh, I could just keep going. A lot of the stuff that everybody loved, I kept all those lines. But what I did was I reduced the numbers that I bought.
mhm,
And so not just the volume, but what I did is normally what I would do is I would order like once, and then I would get a whole bunch in, and then I would order again. Another order would come in 6 or 8 weeks later.
mhm,
Now it's literally everywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. So a shipment will come in, and then 2 weeks later, either another shipment will come in, or
mhm,
another shipment will come in 2 more weeks after that. So I changed how I buy things. I changed how I ship things so
mhm,
that I can get as much merchandise in there, but not all at the same time. So it
mhm,
staggers all the
mhm,
time.
mhm,
And it always looks like it's full, so that I can, as we sell, I replace, sell, replace, sell,
mhm,
replace. And it's worked really, really well.
mhm,
Um, right now, the store is, I put all the store on sale.
mhm.
All of the clothes are relevant to now. It is spring and they are
Mhm,
summer.
mhm.
And
Okay.
so it's what you're going to wear now, what you're going to wear months to come. So it's a really good opportunity for people to pick up what they would normally buy at a 25% discount.
Mhm.
I did that because all of my March and all of my April orders were all canceled from the manufacturers because they
Mhm.
couldn't ship things out. A
Yeah.
lot of the people I do business with are in California, which they shut them up pretty tight.
Right.
Canada, Florida, especially New York, nothing's coming out of there.
Mhm.
And so all this time, all that stuff that I normally load in March and I load in April so that we have plenty for May, because we have Mother's Day and graduations. There's lots of weddings
Yep.
and people are traveling on trips and all that kind of stuff. So I always load to make sure I have plenty of merchandise. I didn't get any of that. So I've been talking back and forth to the manufacturers. So the things that are relevant to now that I haven't gotten, I'm going to get those in anyway. And some of the
Mhm.
things that are not, they just let those slide. And
Okay.
so I just decided, let's sell what we have. And
Mhm.
then they're starting to ship the new stuff here in another week or so. But
Okay.
I couldn't get anything in the store. I mean, literally,
Yeah.
they're the supply lines, the way they do things. I mean,
Just
it took 11 days to get somewhere when it should have taken 3. So
Really.
they're overwhelmed, I would imagine, because
Yeah.
everybody's. I mean, it's like the internet; it's choking because everybody's on it.
Yeah. Everybody's demanding the same thing,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
and like you were saying, most of your suppliers are based in the United States or
Yes.
Canada, and so you know you're not having to worry about a bunch of international shipment, but still,
Mm.
it's all domestic production has still been very you know strapped
Yeah.
and
You know,
challenged.
there's a lady that I've been buying clothes from for 12 years, and she's out of Florida. And she's one of our customers' favorites. She's one of mine, and it's easy wear stuff, so it's perfect for our weather.
Mhm.
She literally her manufacturing just shut down. Um, she was so what she did was she decided to start making masks.
Yeah.
So she started making masks. She does a mask that has like a cotton layer, and
Uh-huh.
then it has two layers of fabric that's got an antimicrobial that is
Okay.
on it.
Mhm.
And so anyway, she started making masks, and I put them on Facebook to see, let me sell you a few. And literally, the very first order I placed was 195
Gosh.
sets, and that's 195 times four. That's
Wow.
how many we sold. And so she's
Wow.
been very grateful for that. And
Mhm.
so she's making. I mean, she's doing like she pivoted,
Sure.
and that's what she did to pivot, and it's working really well. We will be able to go back to market in June, so
Okay,
she's
good.
going to keep making those until she needs to pivot and do something different. She kept her staff sewing, her
Mhm.
people employed, so they weren't on, weren't taxing our systems, very
Mhm.
hard. But
Yeah.
so there's a lot of us, that are just changing how we do things for a
Yeah,
while.
just moving right along, but just
Yeah.
doing things a little bit different. Yeah,
Yep.
that's great. Okay, well, I am so glad that you've been on. I was so glad you were available today and that you were able to pull away from the store. I would have loved to have you in the store so everyone could see it, but um, your doors are open. What are your
Sorry.
hours right now? No, I mean, it's
Well, I right now our hours are 11 to 5,
okay.
Monday through Saturday. That's this week. We may change those next week. We have been
Okay.
busy. I am there earlier than 11, and
Okay.
I'm there later than 5.
Yeah.
But that way people have the opportunity to come and go. A lot of people still are not working,
Mhm.
so that time frame works really well for them. Um,
Mhm.
but again, like we have people that if they need to come earlier or they need to come later, then they just need to call the store and request that, and I'll make sure that happens. We are
Mhm.
closed on Sundays, but we're using that day for to make appointments for people that do not want to get out in the crowds, that prefer to
Mhm.
have one of a personal stylist and just be one person in the store. So I'm doing that, and I'm not doing it this Sunday because it's Mother's Day,
Mhm.
but like every Sunday I've been doing that, and it works really well. I have some people that either they may be they may feel that they're compromised, or that they have somebody you have to be concerned with, or
Mhm.
that they just don't want to be around a bunch of people. Whatever
Mhm.
they need is what we're doing. So we're
Okay.
allowing for appointments, and we're cleaning in between appointments to make sure that everything is nice and clean and tidy and sanitized.
Yeah, that sounds good. And then you have this sale going on. You said 25% off, is
Mhm.
that right? And is that
It's
just through the end of
25%, all the clothes,
mhm,
and 15% off of everything else.
mhm,
We do have some artwork in the store, so it's exclusion. That's excluded from the sale. I don't really know how long I'm going to run it. I think the goal really is to deplete my inventory,
sure.
so that it will allow me to take those resources that I gain from that and push them back into more inventory.
Mhm,
So
okay.
that if we have another week like we had this week, it's we're going to need some clothes.
Yeah, soon, right? That's good. Wow. Well,
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. I love seeing people be successful, especially in retail. It's not an easy thing to compete with the big box stores or Amazon and some of the mail order and stuff. So I just think you're a real asset to Georgetown, and I'm really glad that you came and talked to me. Learned a
Well,
lot of
thank you.
interesting stuff.
Well, I will tell you this. I don't compete with Amazon. I don't compete with anybody. I
Mhm.
just, you know what I used to tell all my retailer friends? I said, don't compete with people. That's not what you should be doing. Do
Mhm.
you passionately do what you love?
Mhm.
And people will appreciate that. And then and then you'll have relationships. So when they do go to say, I'm going to go to Amazon, they'll think twice about going to Amazon because they'll go, oh, and then they'll come back and see you. Now there's
Mhm.
some things, like I said, there's stuff on Amazon we don't have, and I
Mhm.
understand that. So
Yeah.
I'm not talking smack about
Yeah.
Amazon, but
You're not competing with them. I mean, that's
I'm
the
not
point.
competing with
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
and I don't fear them. I really do not fear them. I do not fear those big box stores. I don't fear those. Those are not who we are. You
Mhm.
know, our model is small, loyal, local,
Yep.
and
Very good.
we're going to stick there because it
Yeah.
works.
That sounds great. Well,
Well, I
Kay, thank
appreciate you.
yeah, thank you so much. It's really good. I'm want to say thank you to everybody who has been watching. I know we have a few people online. If anyone has any questions, you can either type it in the comment box right now, or we will have, like, this will be on Facebook. This will be on YouTube. So if you have any comments or questions for me or Kay, just go ahead and post that, and one of us will get back with you at some point in the future. And I'm going to have to come see you. I haven't been to the new store.
Well,
Shame
you
on
will
me.
love it. Well, no, no shame here. No shame. That's one thing I always say. We don't do shame at my space.
Okay, all right. That sounds fantastic. All right. Well, you have a great day, and
Thank you.
we'll definitely see you soon.
All right. Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.